Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to take a look at extensions today. Here's the thing. We do a ton of work within our browsers. These days, you may be doing everything within your browser. You may launch into Windows or Mac or whatever it happens to be, and then go directly to your browser and get going on all of your work. What that means is the browser then has access to whatever work you're doing. Basically, what's happening is that if you may have created an encrypted channel, let's say between you and Microsoft, if you're using Office 365, for instance. So you've got this encrypted channel between you and Microsoft, but you have to be able to see what Microsoft is presenting to you. Therefore, the browser can see whatever Microsoft is presenting to you. That's the concept. That's the idea. So you need to know that you may be thinking, for instance, in a medical profession, a doctor or a nurse may go, well, I am going to record some information. I use this private online web service that I can document. It's kind of laid out for me as a doctor or a nurse, and here I am. I'm going to go ahead and put in the information that I need, and it's really accessing that website and putting that information in. And the website says, we're going to keep all of this secure. This is all medically okay to do. However, your browser, you're doing it within that. And so your browser can see that. And so you have to trust whoever made that browser that they are not going to be looking at what you're doing and taking and storing that information. So it's kind of a fundamental thing to understand that if you can see what's happening in your browser, the browser can see what's happening in the browser and whether or not you trust them. So let's take a look. We're on screen 2 here. This is Edge. We'll get to Edge in just a minute. I'm going to look at Chrome because almost all of my students, almost every one of my students uses Chrome. Almost everybody uses Chrome. It's a huge thing. What this is saying is that I'm browsing as a guest because I haven't logged into Google's services, and so I'm browsing as a guest. But Google would still have access to this because they made Chrome. Most people use Chrome again, so that's why I am showing you this. But I also want to show you, like within Edge, Brave, all these others, they're all based off of Chrome. So they're pretty much the same, other than they're not feeding back to Google, right? So Microsoft Edge is Microsoft's, I took Chrome as Microsoft built what I wanted. So it's not going back to Google, it's going back to them, and so on. So anyway, enough of that. Let's take a look at extensions. Extensions are basically a way to say, you know what, I really like my browser, but I wish it would do this. And there's a lot of fun things that you can do within it. As a matter of fact, I already went there. How you get there is just by, clicking the 3 dots. Some people call it the micro hamburger. They call that hamburger menu when it's got the lines on it. Anyway, and you go to extensions, and this is where you can either manage your extensions right here, or you can visit the Chrome Web Store where there's a bunch of extensions. So right here, easily remove. Oh, that nicely changed for us. Let's go back. Easily remove backgrounds, adjust colors, plus get 6 months free access to Photoshop Web. And so I can put that extension in, and that will be available in my browser. That'll be just right in my browser. And there's tons of stuff here. I mean, you can play games in your browser through these extensions. It's fantastic. I mean, it's massive. It's massive, massive, massive. There's an ad blocker right there. There's a free VPN. Hey, let's take a look at this free VPN one. Now, most of the time, ads are blocked. Pop-ups, I should say, are blocked. This is actually going to try to block the ads that are coming up on the screen, which, of course, Google doesn't necessarily like you doing that because it's usually coming from their paid ad source. So this has got 13 million users. I mean, that's a lot. This gives us an overview of what would happen if you decided to use this. And then you can, look at the reviews, which I say you really should. And then the privacy. This is one of the most important things here. And the developer has disclosed that it will not collect data. So it's not going to collect your data. and that it's not being sold to third parties outside the approved use cases. So you'd actually need to read that to see what the use case is. But that's pretty good as to what it's telling you there. It's saying, hey, I'm going to be pretty private here. There's others that are not, and I actually, well, I thought I had one open, but I don't. We'll take a look at one. So that's a really important thing, that when you say, okay, I'm gonna use this, or I think I'm gonna use it, take a look at the reviews. What are the complaints about it? And then also take a look at, okay, what are they telling me that they're gonna take from me as a result of using it? Because a lot of these, you really have to think, right? How are they making money off of this? That's usually is an older generation thought process, because we had to always have to pay money for something, and it wasn't until the internet happened that all this was free. It's all free. How does that work, right? And so we realized that nothing comes for free. Yeah, there's a reason why they developed it, and they're getting something out of it that monetarily means something to them. All right, so I'm going to go to extensions. You also in this web store see themes, and themes are just a way to change, you want flowers or whatever. We'll apply one of those in a minute so you can see it. But it's fun. There's a lot of different themes. The main focus here, though, is extensions. Let's look at, I had pulled up this session buddy right here. In other words, I've done a little pre-work to see what privacy are they taking away. So it's got 1 million users or more. So if we just cut down, what it does is it helps restore the session to the way you were. When they mean a session, they mean I'm going to go ahead and close this browser. And then when I reopen it, what does it do? How does it behave? And you can actually make certain tabs be there. You can do all that without any of this kind of help that they're showing you on the screen. But this is supposed to help you organize that and have that, pop up already for you. So down here in privacy, it is going to take personal identifiable information. It's going to deal with financial and payment information, authentication information, and web history. It's going to do all that. I want some more information. That's pretty much the same thing, but it's telling you a little bit here. Declares you're not being sold to third parties. But see, you have to think about, okay, well, what is this actually doing? Well, McBride said it was a session thing, so it's going to bring everything back up the way you had it when you closed it. So it's going to need this. It's going to need this. It's going to have to know where you went. And so you can't look at everything and just go, oh, geez, I can't use this either because look at what they're taking from me. Well, it depends on what you're trying to do with this. This obviously needs this information in order to bring that session up the way that you were before. And if you're afraid, oh, wow, I don't know if this is good for me, well, then you read a little bit about it, right? You go to their website, you take a look at, it's got 25,000 ratings. What are people saying about this? And so when you look at these privacy settings, you have to think about what is it trying to do here, and does it need that privacy setting in order to get it done? Now, hopefully that gives you enough information. We're going to install one right here, but hopefully it gives you enough information to not be so afraid to come in and look, because really that's the thing. People will just come in here and do whatever because they're like, oh, it's so complicated. All this is so complicated, forget it. I'm just going to click it and hopefully everything will be okay. Hopefully I won't get hacked. Hopefully. But if you're actually checking out what are the reviews on this, what is it used for? Is that something I want to do? Let's look at Weatherly. That's a good one to look at. This is a pretty big one that's out there. It's 30,000 users. It's got news and so on. Let's take a look. The developer declares your data is not being sold. So we want to look at those approved use cases, but not being transferred, not being. So this is not going to do anything but pull up weather for me. And I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't have an ad thrown in there so that they could make some money. So I would say, oh yeah, I really would like this. And so I'm going to get it. Now I have to go ahead and sign in, right? It's not going to let me add to Chrome. So I'm not going to do this within Chrome because I don't use Chrome. Like I said, I use other versions of Chrome. So we're going to switch over to Edge. which, yeah, you go basically to the same thing. You come down here, you'll notice that, hey, it's Chrome. It looks exactly like it. Yeah. So we're going to go to get extensions, and that'll go over to their own little store. But guess what? It's if they wrote an extension that works in Chrome, then it'll work across any of this stuff. You can pull one straight from the Chrome store, or of course, these have all the, hey, there's the same thing what we just saw. So let's go to weather, see if we can find that one. Maybe not. They got a lot though. Look at all those. Oh my goodness. Let's see which ones are rated pretty high. Let somebody else do the testing. This one is rated. It's only got 31. This has got 13. It's rated with a 4 free PDF converter. Provides local long-range weather. Let's do the same thing. Let's go in and take a look. Let's do this one. And let's go and take a look at the description. And here's the privacy. Personal data collected, weather disclosed, it collects personal data, review it. So then we can review the privacy policy that they have. This is what they collect: your IP, your contact information, email address, your location data. Why? To provide accurate weather forecasts. Well, okay, they don't need this for that. They also don't need this for that. And then safeguarding and securing the data. To, if they're going to authenticate who you are, then yeah, then they need this. Whoops, sorry, we didn't need to do that. Sorry, they need these two. So for their second item there, to improve our services and products, sure, whatever, but to safeguard and securing the data, sorry, the third item, then yeah, if they want to secure it according to you, this is you, it does help them to have the email address. Your IP address may change. So they don't really need all that, which probably means that they're selling some of this information. And you can be good with that, or you cannot be good with that. You can say, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But let's compare. If we're looking at weather apps, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the second one. Well, that's a nice little look there. Looks like it's made by somebody in China. And it says no personal data collected, weather disclosed. It doesn't collect personal data. Oh, okay. It doesn't at all. I'm going to get that one. So I hit get, I hit add extension, and that is going to go ahead and install the extension right into the system and have it ready to use. Then at that point, there'll be a little icon up here I can click on, and that'll pull that extension down. You can see it's installed. I can hit view extension, and here, there's my RSS feeder. There's the weather. Now let's go ahead and pin that. And there's the weather right here. And it's doing in Celsius, so I need to change those settings. And so select a city. Oh, that's nice. Well, this might be hard. I want Safford. Add a common city. Whoa, we can actually add a latitude and longitude. We can do that. So in other words, if this wasn't really programmed for us here in the United States, like, what are these cities? I don't know who you are there. Then you could actually add the longitude and latitude straight from a map, in your operating system. Safford, AZ, yeah, no data. So yeah, this one might be, there's Safford Auto. It says it's going to get that. Show the temperature, use Imperial. That may fix it. I may have to restart it though. So I do have this set as Imperial. It does say Safford, so it's automatically getting that information. Save it. And now we can close that tab, close that. Always close tabs when they have a little advertisement. You're like, what is that? Don't even bother with it. Don't look at it. Don't be tempted by it. That's something that did get popped up when we installed this. I don't want to see it. I don't know where it's going. Forget it. Now, report abuse here is if this is actually doing something with your data that it says it shouldn't be. And you will notice, whoops, let me just go to extensions here. Notice this extension was disabled due to malware, suspicious behavior, or policy violation. So they were doing something against Microsoft's policy, or that was doing something that it said, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, and then it did something else as well, which is very malware-like. If we look at the details, it doesn't really tell us anything. It just says, hey, this is supposed to put on these HD wallpapers. That's what it's supposed to do. It doesn't really tell us anything about that. But if you see something like this and it's been deactivated, so they deactivated it, and you'd say, well, I better remove it. And now the code is not going to be part of this browser anymore, even though it was deactivated. I'm going to show you this one in a minute, Cyber Guardian, just because it's fun. I'm going to close it. I'm going to see if this resets. This is a good example of going into one of these extensions and then it's just not right. Now look at that, it's 31 degrees. So it's still Celsius, and I don't work off of Celsius. I don't know about you, but I don't. And I'm trying to get that to pop up, but it's not. It's not doing it. So I may just end up going, well, that's nice that they're not recording any information on here, but 89 degrees Celsius. Okay, it's not Celsius. So that's looks like it's the current correct temperature. Look at this. It's going to be sunny and 199 degrees. Wow, that's going to be a record. Yeah, so this isn't quite working well, is it? We got it on Imperial, and it definitely is showing that, but it's not working correct. So I'll just get rid of it. I'll delete that one altogether. How do we do that? This is a good one to know. We can just come in to manage those extensions. Looks like my computer's having a hard time with doing all this fancy stuff, which it shouldn't have a hard time with. It's a very fast machine. Come back in here and go, you know what, whether you're not working out, and you can either turn it off or remove it, or just remove it. You'll get rid of it. Yeah, go ahead and remove it. No, they weren't abusive. They just weren't right. They're like, hey, how did this work? You know, that's probably some 14-year-old kid made that. I have no idea. But yeah, so that's no longer there. That's how you remove an extension. It's that easy. Now let's use this extension. It's a nice little cyber view there. I know all the green is like, what is going on? Why is this happening? But we can take a look. This is nice because it has a permission inspector. So what it's going to do is all these open tabs, really all of this is related to stuff I do at Eastern Arizona College. And so I'm not really worried about it, but it will actually tell me what it's doing, what information it's actually doing. Now, how about cameras? Is there anything that's using? Nope. Microphone, any one of those websites using a microphone? Nope. Anybody using geolocation? Clipboard, right? That means that it can write to the clipboard when you say select this, copy paste, which is, good. So the permissions inspector on this is pretty nice on this little tiny extension, and I'll show you what the extension is. But I love the look at the camera, let me know, and show me all the permissions that it's asking for. That way, for instance, if you see something where it's like my EAC camera, why is it accessing my camera? Why is it accessing my microphone? Because that's really what the permissions inspector is going to tell you. This is what it is doing currently. Of course, you can also look at memory usage, which is important when you're using especially Chrome, because man, it's become a hog when it comes to using your RAM. As the major reason why I don't use it is because of RAM use. And then your extension manager, which really we already have an extension manager. It's right here when you say I want to manage extensions, but it has tapped into that, right? So right here in our extension manager, it's tapped into that same thing. Cookies, what cookies are being kept. And then, of course, all the downloads, which again, you can just go to your downloads folder and download those. I mean, get rid of them. You can lock websites out. Yeah, you can block websites. Yeah, you could password manage. I don't do that with this. There's a bunch of stuff. That's the one of the things I wanted to show you. Yeah, this is all the same stuff. It's even got a little network status showing you who's doing what. Like here's Google. It looks like it's running through some banners there. There's fonts on Edge. Anyway, I can get lost in there just for fun. All right, that is Cyber Guardian Security Analytics Utility, and I just found that, I don't know, it was probably a couple of months ago, and used it a little bit, but it's nice because it lets you see what's going on. Now let's look and see the details on this. Permissions: read and change your browsing history, read and change your favorites, manage your downloads, open downloads, manage your apps, extensions, and themes. Well, that's quite a bit, isn't it? Yes, but look at what it's doing. Do I trust it? Do I not? That's something that you have to decide on. But again, if you don't trust it, then you turn it off and you uninstall it. You get rid of it. And that's easy enough for you to do. So explore some extensions. Get out there and take a look at the different extensions that are available to you. Let me pull up, got DuckDuckGo, got Brave. I really like Brave, but the only thing I haven't liked about Brave is the fact that sometimes it just doesn't install right. It really bugs me. It'll say, "Oh, I can't finish the upgrade, so you'll have to reinstall me." And I'm like, I don't want to sit and reinstall you. It's, all of them have their little built-in AI. Brave, again, is, we're trying to be private with Brave, and you can actually do the new private window with Tor automatically in Brave. So that's definitely got some good stuff. Oh wait, are we in? Yeah, we're in Brave. Want to make sure. Don't want to be lying to you. There's extensions, and hey, look, there's manage extensions and visit the web store. Look where it took us, the Chrome web store. So they don't even have their own. Where Microsoft has their own, this is like, yeah, you're just going to Chrome. So here you go. There you go. And then here's DuckDuckGo, and it, I believe, does the same exact thing. Okay, let's do it. I thought we had already done all this. No, I don't want to make it be my default. No, I don't want to import anything. I guess I didn't. Or sometimes you see this when it updates. So it'll update, and then it's like such a massive update that you end up going through the setup again. Yeah, Duck Player is good. It's pretty good. And I don't care about the bookmarks. We'll skip that. Skip that. You can always turn any of this on. This is just trying to help you have it all set up. All right, all that just so I can come down and find where is our extensions. Where did they moved it? So we'll go to, let me make sure. No, I'm not seeing their extensions right there. Maybe they've got all that deactivated. More tools. We go to settings. Settings has everything. Web protection is on, privacy search is on, cookie protection is on, email protection I don't have logged in, so that's off. There's our appearance, so we can change our appearance. I always make it purple for EAC down there. There you go. Data cleaning, I actually use this. I'm sorry, I've gotten off on a tangent here, but I actually use this at EA because so many students will leave themselves logged in, which is why I won't install Chrome, because it'll stay logged in across logins. So you'll shut down the entire computer, you log back in, and I have a generic login. It's called EAC. They log in, and now they didn't log out, and so some other student is in their material, and so I people are so used to Chrome that they don't go through the process of realizing I have to log out. On DuckDuckGo, it has the automatic ability to say, you know, let's clear all the browsing tabs and don't warn me. Open fire window by default, meaning that as soon as you open the window and close it, it just burns it to the ground, basically, is what they're looking at, how they're looking at it. And so I'll often tell students, hey, use DuckDuckGo, because I know that when they close it, it just throws all that stuff away. And then when somebody else logs in, nothing's there from the student before. So yeah, I did not notice that with DuckDuckGo. It looks like they may have turned off the extensions totally, which wouldn't surprise me, because all of those, right, you have to worry about privacy. You have to think about what you're doing. And so if they're being really private, they're saying, we don't want you doing it. Now, they may have moved it someplace else. But that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to show you, is just, hey, extensions are there. See, I set that and it burnt it all to the ground for me. And so go out and check out extensions, but be aware that some of them are really malicious. And both Google and Microsoft try to find it. So, oh, well, we see this thing as being malicious, or other users are reporting that it is, and they try to deactivate those, but it's still a way for any Trojan to get into your system and see what's happening right there on your screen in your browser. So if I log into my EAC and I start dealing with your grades, and I have an extension that's heisting information from me, then it's going to see student information. It's going to see it because I can see it, right? It's in the browser. So you got to be careful with extensions. And, you know, find one. There's some security ones out there that will help you track that. And I believe there's some for your phone. So on Android, if you want to, you can look. And I mean, DuckDuckGo is on your phone. You can use that kind of stuff to help you out. And if you don't care about extensions, it looks like DuckDuckGo is a really good privacy browser from what we were looking at right there. But check that out. DuckDuckGo, Brave, those are probably the new top two as far as security goes. I also have, I should show you this, Firefox. So not done yet. I want to show you Firefox, and not because Firefox is better. Firefox is the old school of the internet. So Firefox, you know, it's been around forever. And I would say probably 98% of the internet is either based off of the Firefox browser engine or the Chrome browser engine, those two. And so I did want to show that, hey, Firefox is out there. And what I mean that it's like the internet default, like across any operating system, across any country, Firefox is available. Chrome, of course, is pretty high up there as well. But I wanted to show you only that, you know, it's not the same. It is not built on Chrome, but it still has extensions. And it also has something called plugins. And so I've got this open H26 store. This is already installed by Cisco Systems. That plugin automatically installed by Mozilla to comply with WebRTC specification. Basically, this is a codec, or being able to watch this type of video. So it's built into that. But you can go and get other plugins, and extensions, of course, are very much like what we were looking at. And this is stuff that it has automatically put in here. Twitch TV. Oh, sorry, it hasn't automatically. It's like, hey, you should use these. And they have their own store. So they've got their own themes, just like Chrome does, and their own extensions. And basically, you're talking about the same type of stuff, and being able blocks malicious websites from port scanning your computer network, and dynamically blocks the LexisNexis. So if we read more, oh, here's our permissions: display notifications, access browser tabs, access your data for all websites. Wow, why does it need to access data for all websites? That's not, this is just some general thing that it's a, hey, this is an extension, what it at. So this is pretty cool in the fact that it's going to let you know if one of these extensions is actually trying to port scan your computer. But at the same time, it's like, get all your data from websites. I don't know if I want to do that. So yeah, Firefox, it's got its own add-ons, their own extensions, their own little tools, and it's the same deal. You look and see, what is this doing and why is it doing it? And you have control over saying, I don't want it or I do want it. Well, thanks for watching. And if you've got any questions or you find some really cool extensions, let me know. Like I said, I tend to add that stuff. If you give me something that's really good, I will add it in, and then the next students that come in, they get to hear about that. And usually we'll give you some anonymous credit as well. So usually I don't like mentioning students' names, but hey, I had a student, and they showed me this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Again, if you've got questions or concerns about extensions that you're using or found some good ones, let me know. Talk with you later.